Good evening, everyone. We are reading from our usual book, Strength for the Day, and the title of our lesson is The Least of These. He will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me." Matthew 25, verse 45. We often think we need to wait for momentous circumstances before doing the good we are asked to do. Perhaps driving a van load of specialists to help in refugee camps, or coordinating training for the hard-to-reach peoples of Mount Kinabalu, Malaysia. Maybe organizing a clothes collection drive for the needy, or sending survival items to those living in medical isolation. But what about the smaller things around us that we tend to neglect? The blank faces that pass us on our daily commute. The searching eyes we are afraid to look into. The outstretched hands we are afraid to touch. The old man who sweeps the roads around the block I live on often raises his hand in a high-five gesture. Mostly, I respond with a bright hello, or I raise my own high five that breezes past his upheld hand. Close, but never quite touching. Today was different. Something made me connect my high five to his. The connection remains etched in my mind. As our two hands touched, it took a moment for it to sink in that my hand had actually touched his. Then his toothless grin broke into mirth, and his cackle was so loud I was caught by surprise, as were the passers-by who witnessed this exchange. At first, the look of censure on one face escalated into outright disdain at me for touching dirty, unwashed hands. On the other side of the road, surprised, bemused looks greeted me. Perhaps some who are reading this right now might wonder about my seemingly rash act of touching dirt-infested hands that may have touched goodness knows what. But the chain reaction was priceless. I treasure it still. As the old man danced a little jig, a cheer from another road sweeper filled the air, and broad smiles spread across the faces of onlookers. The austere looks melted into smiles and unspoken thoughts of, what did I just witness? For a little while, everyone present was bathed in the joy of this one shared moment. Whatever we do not do for the least of these, we do not do for Jesus. What does God's word challenge us to do? How is the disciple maker inviting us to show his love to the least of these? Jesse Kilindo. I don't know about you, but I have been strengthened for the day and encouraged for the day. The title of our lesson this evening was The Least of These, and the key text was taken from Matthew 25, verse 45. It reads, "He will reply, 'Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me.'" The author, Miss Jessie Kilindo, she relays her own experience with this text. She reminds us that it's not the big and grand things that we do in life that is considered as noble and great. What about those smaller things in life that we could have made a difference and we didn't? And so she speaks about her own experience with a street sweeper, and every morning he would beckon, or he would try to have a high five exchange. However, there are moments where she will just give a bright hello, being polite, and maybe giving a high five but not actually touching this individual. No. Persons would say, why would I touch this man? But there was a aha moment for her where she actually gave him a high five, and many persons, onlookers who saw that exchange, they looked with disdain, like, what's happening? Why are you touching his filthy hands? But what turned out to be a judgment match ended up being an interaction of admiration, because there's another street sweeper who saw the exchange, and there was just an eruption of joy, both from the recipient of the high five gesture and the other street sweeper who saw what took place. And this spread right throughout the individuals who were in close vicinity. It goes to show that it's not the big things that we do that makes God happy. It's not the mission trips that we go on, or the churches that we build. It's good to do those things, but we can start right where we are. That street sweeper, that gentleman, he just wanted to be recognized. He wanted to feel seen. And Miss Kalindo, she did that for him by actually connecting. How many times have we ignored persons that don't fit our criteria, or we wouldn't be caught dead in their presence because they're not of a certain status or caliber? And that's the difference between us and Christ. Christ came and showed us the way. He wasn't with royalty and the noble men and women of society. He came and was with the lepers, the blind, the lame, the sick. And he came to show us the example of what we should be doing in our day-to-day Christian life. I don't know about you, but I have been touched. This is something that I've seen in my upbringing, how my parents raised me. It was also reiterated in Sabbath school classes and lessons and in church. And just by reading the Bible, we know how we should be treating people. We shouldn't be looking at whether a person dresses well or speaks well or has a higher level of education in order to determine if you're going to befriend this person. That doesn't matter at the foot of the cross. We're all equal. We're all level at the foot of the cross. And that is something that I have to ponder on a day-to-day basis, and you also have to ponder on. When we come to that realization that no man is greater than any man, we are all on the same level. We all eat, sleep, go to the toilet, get sick. We experience the same thing. So no man is greater than any person. And once we get to that point, we will treat people like how Christ treated individuals of his time. And I want us to really take this on board, because society has a way of dictating who belongs to the elite category and who deserves certain accolades and gifts and help, and it's wrong. It's actually wrong. And what Miss Jessie Kalindo has shown us is how her small gesture has made such an impact in this man's life. God knows how many persons have passed him on the street because he's a street sweeper. How many times have we passed the street sweepers while we're hurrying to go to work and we haven't said even a good morning to them? They're human beings as well. They have blood flowing through their bodies as well. For me, my upbringing in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, my parents, one thing: manners and respect. And it has brought me a far way. God has allowed me to reach where I am now in life, and also manners and respect. It doesn't hurt to be respectful. It doesn't hurt to be a kind person. And so I'm gonna charge myself and charge you. Next time you're going on the road, say good morning to the streets people, or any person that you see that wouldn't fit that category of being worthy of a conversation. And those are the things that get me very passionate about speaking on these things, because what if I did not fit society's standards of looks and being educated? That's how I would be treated. Persons would step past me because, oh, you don't have a degree, or you don't look well put together. And that's the perception that we have in our minds. That's how we look at people and judge them. And I'm so grateful that God is not like man. He does not treat us based on how we look or how we behave. We're literally living off His mercies and His grace. If man was God, I know for a fact that certain opportunities and certain privileges that God has afforded in my life, I wouldn't get it, because man would say, nope, not giving that girl, because what? I don't think she deserves it, or she can't get this and she can't get that. Because that is how man is. That is how we are. And that's why Christ has to be our gold standard, because we're not there yet. I'm not there yet. And every day we have to recommit ourselves to Him and ask Him, how can we exhibit your characteristics? Because Christ would never, ever treat us based on what we look like, or our background, on who is a part of our family. Those things shouldn't matter. So that's just my take on the lesson. Let's try to treat people how Christ would have treated people when He was here on earth. Let's make a difference. Let's be kind. Let's be loving, and let's not just judge people based on what they look like and think, oh, I'm not gonna talk to that person because they don't fit in my circle, or they won't bring me off a certain way. So I hope that this lesson has been inspiring. I hope that you've learned something. I've learned something. And I'm praying that we can go forward and just make a difference in this cruel world that we're living in. Let's be the light for Christ. Let's shine our lights so that men can see that there is something different in us, that Christ resides here. And then they will want to come and worship our Father who is in heaven. So thanks for tuning in. God bless you all. I hope you've been strengthened for the day and encouraged for the day. Remember, I'm on YouTube now. Yay! So, subscribe, share, comment, like. Just do your thing, my people. Thanks for being on this journey so far. And let's see where God takes it. See you again tomorrow.